discuss, and hopefully it's going to be helpful and applicable in, especially the founders here in the audience, in your journey to start up and building up businesses in Malaysia. Without further ado, perhaps I will get the panelists to introduce themselves. We'll start with, you. Yep.
Hi everyone, I'm Yee Yun, founder of I. Some of you probably have tried our technology over there when you try to claim your free juice coffee. So that's my company. So what we do is we deliver AI to physical retailers through biometrics payment enable platform, which is what you tried just now. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm from SoftSpace. We run an enterprise SaaS company that sells payments technology to banks. We have clients all over the world in 23 markets and about 80 to 90 banks with us.
Hi, my name is Ming. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of PolicyStreet. We are a regional insurtech company that provides cutting-edge digital solutions, insurance solutions, to customers and clients in Southeast Asia and also Australia. Recently, I think we were invested by Khazanah. And today we are licensed in Malaysia, in Australia, and we have also a regional reinsurer in Labuan. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Nadira Yusoff. I am the CEO and founder of Kiddocare. And Kiddocare is a platform that provides childcare and elderly care services to families across Malaysia. So when I'm not growing my company, I grow my 6 other kids. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Khairul from Pandai. So Pandai is an app that helps school students study, learn, do revision and get better grades in school. So the students would go to their school like they normally do, but outside of school, instead of using paper-based stuff, which is non-interactive, not as fun, no AI, they can use Pandai instead. And what's different? Pandai can actually pinpoint the student's strengths and weaknesses and highlight recommendation and break down the performance in detail. So, and that's how the student can get better grades with Pandai.
Thank you very much. And finally, I'm Dave Ng. I'm from Altara Ventures. We are a venture capital fund that's active in Malaysia. We're active regionally in Asia. We also invest in US. Just a quick intro of myself. Maybe I'll kick off with a very key question, which is, it's never easy to build a business, especially a tech business, out of any market, right, including Malaysia. I would love to hear from the panelists here, in their journey so far, especially in the early days in starting up, building out a Malaysian market. What are some of the key challenges or pitfalls, right, they would like to, or they wish somebody back then will tell them to avoid? Perhaps I'll start with Khairul and Nadira over there.
All right. Thank you, Dave. So you said building a business. So Pandai actually started in 2020. So we're a relatively new company still. In the first year, obviously, we did a lot of mistakes, and we were growing not that fast in the first year especially. There was just a few of us doing everything we could. And we start going much faster in the second year, in 2021. And what we realized that, the hard way, is that it takes a different skill set to grow a company. And in the beginning, like most of you startup founders, we come from a background of creating the product, right, or creating the service, right? For example, if we're an app, we code the program ourselves. Like if we're in F&B, we're probably the chef. If we're in fashion, we've already sew the fabric ourselves. Or hardware, we screw the screws ourselves. But in order to grow a sustainable company, we then realized that it takes a whole new, skill set. We had to wear a different hat, basically. We had to shift from building a product, which is needed in the beginning, right? Build a product or service, to a different hat, which is building a business altogether, like you said, Dave. So, and building business, we then realized that there's a lot of things that come with building business, operation, marketing, sales, accounting, finance, etc. But I think, for me personally, the most important skill, especially in the beginning, in order to grow a business, right, sustainably and for the long run, is the skill to the ability to convince people to join our cause. And as startup founder, we have limited resources, but we have the vision, right? So it's important to get people to join our cause. For example, we're still new, but we need customers, right? They never heard of us, but we need to convince them to join our, to buy or to use our product. We're still small, but we need vendors with good credit terms. We're still new or small, we need VCs, we need co-founders, and we need early stage employees as well. So we're lucky in Pandai, in the first year, we were just us, but in the second year, we got, very good talents to join us, people who we are not actually qualified to get. We, as a company, you don't deserve to get them. One of them is here, Naza is here, our head of product. She joined us in second year, and she technically solved a lot of things in terms of product and all, and probably less than a quarter of salary that she deserved, but she wanted to join because of the vision. And luckily, we have other talents as well now with us, but we learned it the hard way that in order to grow a company, we need people who are better than us in the things that they do. So I stop at there first for now. All right.
Okay, for me, I think there are two things I wish, somebody had told me before. Number one, if you have a product, you think it's cool to you. It may not be cool for the market, lah, right? So it has always been, as a tech founder, kan? And also an engineer. Sometimes I get so absorbed in developing the tech, and I think that, my tech is that's it lah, it's everything. Everybody's going to buy this as we go into the market. But no, market is important. Right, so before you start building the tech, you make sure that you actually have the market to adopt. And the other thing that I find so important, and I wish somebody had told me from the beginning, right? As an entrepreneur, you tend to do a lot of things yourself. And you can start a business, you can get to that first level of the market. At the end of the day, the product cannot sell itself, it can't grow itself, market also cannot scale by itself. So you will need a team around you. And that role, transitioning from the solo entrepreneur, rather the entrepreneur that really drives the business, to actually becoming a leader to build a team that supports you. Being able to identify people who are, necessary to come into the company. Transitioning your role as an entrepreneur into a leader. Motivating a team, building them. Allocating roles. This is so important. I wish I knew this before. Because there will come a time where you are so absorbed in building the business, working in the business so much that you become so operational. You don't have time anymore to work on the business and looking at the other bigger picture. I wish somebody had told me that. Thank you.
Thanks, Nadira. Maybe I'll ask Yee Ming, I'll ask you to hold off first. Maybe Yee Yun, why don't you share your view as well?
Sure, thanks. So I think they have covered product, market, team. Someone covered here is probably the entrepreneur mindset here, right? So I think the journey itself is full of challenges. You just can't avoid that. You can't avoid making mistakes, but what I learned from it is fail fast, learn fast. That's how you can grow very, very fast. In Malaysia, I think a lot of people say that Malaysia is a very small, like a middle-sized market, but this is actually a very good place to start with because it's very resourceful. And as a startup in the very early days, you just have to be very creative on how to leverage on the resources that you can access to in this ecosystem here. So I think, for example, Cal20 today, there's a lot of different opportunities that you guys can explore. And so back to the mindset itself, is be very creative on how to get resources and grow fast. For instance, you can get partnership. I think the benefit of being a startup is you move fast, you deliver innovation and speed. And that is how you can deliver value to corporate and form partnership together. So the journey itself, we were actually a system integrator before. We were doing autonomous retail store, and we faced challenges in scalability. And today, what you experience just now is a different product because we learned from the mistake. We learned that market is important. We learned that product itself has to fit the market. So we have this slightly more scalable product we have introduced. But to get to the market, we need partnership. So that's where we form partnership with PayNats and merchant acquire to actually grow the network faster. So be very creative while you are trying to achieve your end goal. I think that is being flexible and while being stubborn on your end goal. That is what I learned so far.
Thank you. And now I want to go to Yee Ming and Chris, because these two gentlemen here has raised quite a bit of capital, right? If think about if you're flying a plane, these two pilots have flown further ahead, right? So they've seen more turbulence. So maybe Yee Ming, if you can share your journey so far, some of the challenges, some of the growth, that would be great. And then we'll come to you, Chris.
Sure. The journey of PolicyStreet has not been easy. We've been around for about 7 years, since 2017. And along the way, we had many stumbling blocks. So if people were to tell you, the journey is a smooth journey, I'll tell you that's an ideal state. There were times even during COVID when we were nearing of closing our shop. We were, building PolicyStreet out of my house in Cyberjaya about 7 years back. In 2020, when COVID hit, we actually lay off everyone except for the co-founders. So we were just 3 of us. And we rebuilt from there on. We even went on to do a crowdfunding. I think we were the most successful crowdfunding under Pitchin in 2020. We did it all virtually. It was a very difficult task, but I think the mission and the drive and the objective that we had was very clear, that we wanted to reinvent insurance. I think one of the biggest thing that we did well was to overcome regulatory hurdles, because insurance is a very regulated market. So we needed to make sure that we had licenses before we can operate. So obviously in Malaysia, we are an approved financial advisor and Islamic financial advisor by Bank Negara Malaysia, which allowed us to work agnostically with over 40 insurers. And then we went on to actually acquire a reinsurance license, because obviously we cannot get an insurer license, so we became a reinsurer. So today I'm happy to say that we underwrite some of the policies, we undertake some of the risk out of Malaysia through Labuan. And along the way, we also obtained another license from Australia. And that has given us room to grow. I mean, we do learn from it, that there are a lot of pitfalls. And today, I'm happy to say that we've got very notable clients which are in the digital ecosystem. So Shopee is one of our client, Carson's our client, Foodpanda's our client, Grab's also our client. I think the one advice I would give everyone is to never give up and continue chugging on to achieve that success. Yeah, Chris.
Chris?
I think 2 things. I think one thing I share with Yan Ming, true. For me, payments and fintech is very, very hard. I hope that when I started, people tell me, hey, this is very hard. You know what you're getting into. So you really need to be like a cockroach to survive this whole journey. So I think that's the knowing where you're going to, and I think payments with regulatory and enterprise is generally very hard business to go in. There's pros and cons, but there's a very hard business to go in. Second, I think I think she talked about market size, product market fit, and I think one of the key things I learned and realized from there, Sourcebase started in 2012, so we're no longer a startup. We are like a very old company. So we find that I think market size or total addressable market is actually one very good lesson that we need to think about as you're an entrepreneur. So we talk about Malaysia. Malaysia is a mid-sized market, neither too big or too small. But a lot of times, if you talk to a lot of the fintech companies, Malaysia is actually good to be profitable. It actually can be profitable and good to be profitable compared to other markets in Southeast Asia where profitability and sustainability is generally harder. However, because of the sizing of the market, then what people realize and people don't realize is that when you want to go to the journey of unicorn or you want to raise a lot of money, then your total addressable market must be big. And I think having that mindset of actually surviving and also thinking, look, how can I increase my TAM so that I can have enough capital to fight? And if you want to big, then you're thinking about global players, right? You're not competing against fellow Malaysians. You're competing against, okay, where's your Japan, your competitors in US, your competitors in where else? Then your capital becomes a weapon. And when capital becomes a weapon, it means that your addressable market and how do you do a product market fit in Southeast Asia becomes super important because it's a different market. And while you have tested Malaysia is good, what else can you do to actually increase your TAM size by going to another market and test out your product market fit as cheaply as possible? That'll be good. If you raise money and test it out, then you might be burning a lot of capital. I think that's where we learn a bit from there.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think it's a good segue, right, to the topic of raising capital to help you to build your business in the journey, because I think that is the one of the number one question in the mind of many founders and entrepreneurs all the time, right? How do I get more capital? How do I am able to convince investors on the other side to believe in me, to believe in my idea, my business? Why is fundraising so hard? And I think all of you have gone through perhaps similar and yet also different fundraising journey. It would be good that we hear from the sharing here, right? How has it been, and perhaps what do you wish Malaysia could do more? Anyone of you, yeah, feel free to kick it.
I mean, just to share the soft space story, we started by actually trying to sell our payments technology to banks in Malaysia. And none of the banks actually supported us at that point in time. Our first client actually come from Thailand, Kasikorn Bank. And they use our old white label mobile point of sale solution. And then we got our first start. Then only second or third, the clients are from Malaysia. I think CIMB and Maybank came along. So that was the journey of actually validating product market fit. So when we're looking to go global and we look into how Malaysia is helping, I think the ecosystem drastically changed from 2012 to maybe 2017. The period is changing and Malaysia has improved a lot. And when we launched a solution called Tap on Phone or Soft Post, we were very fortunate that we gathered the support of our local card scheme PayNet to let us become the first in the world to do Tap on Phone on PIN. So that helps us a lot more. And thanks to that relationship and whatnot, we managed to propel ourselves to actually do it for JCB, we do it for Nets, we do it for everywhere, many different companies in the world. And when I fall back on that, that become the moment of truth, right? So if we don't have that, then I will shudder to think, hey, will the companies come in? So I think product market fit and having to test out and having to say that your product is good, especially for my business, enterprise software, is very critical. And I think there's a lot of luck, there's a lot of relationship, there's a lot of help and blessing. But as an ecosystem as a whole, I hope that will be a SOP rather than a hustle, because at the end of the day, it comes back into luck, right? We managed to have the correct relationship, we managed to have the relationship early on, but I won't say that all the entrepreneurs can survive to be a cockroach till you have that breakthrough, and that whole product market fit is actually very critical if you want to go global, because if you have no product market fit, how do you sell? And that's the key part, I think. If that is a program to test product market fit, that will be a great de-risking of opportunity, de-risking of risk for a startup.
Sure. Maybe I'll just add on the fundraising part. I think the first thing before you fundraise is to have some form of traction. If you do not have a traction in your business, I think no investors out there would want to invest in you. I don't know, maybe Dave, you can attest to that. So I think traction is very important. And secondly, I think there's only two things. So secondly, you need to have very supportive investors who then become your shareholders or your stakeholders. If they are supportive of your business, you know that they will go the extra mile to ensure that you achieve your next milestones and your next milestones. So it's about really, first thing is have some form of traction. I think it's gone the days where you sell a story. I think a lot of people, they tend to just sell a dream. Dream will get you, a very nice dream, very good night's sleep, but it's not going to get you anywhere. So you need to have some form of traction. Secondly is really have investors who believe in you, who will go the extra mile with you, not just someone who will just put their money and then not do anything with it. So, and PolicyStreet, we've been very fortunate to have investors who went through with us through thick and thin. So, and I'm very supportive, and thank you for that.
Great. Maybe Khairul, if you went through YC,
Yeah.
can you share the experience and how have your path been?
All right. For those of you who don't know, YC or Y Combinator is I would say, one of the most prestigious startup accelerator program in the world. So they've been around since 2005 for almost 20 years. So many of the big unicorns in the world came out of a 3-month program in Y Combinator, which is based in Silicon Valley, right? The likes of Dropbox, Airbnb, and the others, right? And we were lucky. We started in 2020. In the first year, we bootstrapped our way ourselves, like I said. And then in 2021, we applied into Y Combinator, and for some reason, we got accepted. So during that batch, there were more than 16,000 companies from practically all the countries in the world who applied to get into YC, and for some reason, went through the process and got in. So it was truly a life-changing experience for us, a 3-month program. So we learn not only how to build a good product, but a good community around it as well. So what's different, I would say about YC is that the emphasis on really, making something that really solve a customer's problem. So when we were in YC in the first day, right, before that they called us up, saying that we got accepted into YC, and they said, don't do two things in this 3 months period. Don't hire anyone, don't talk to investors throughout these 3 months. And throughout the 3 months, they only allow us to do two things. One is to only build the product or talk to customers. That's it. Don't attend events such as this. I'm joking, but don't go for awards, don't go to networking events. Just build your product, talk to customers. If the event is about your product, for example, it's an event at school because clients are students, right? Then yes, you should attend that. So either you build the product or talk to customers. And talk to customers means either you're selling or you're getting feedback. And we're supposed to be obsessed with that on a weekly basis. So throughout YC, the emphasis is on the weekly growth. Like you set whatever metrics you want to set, like for example, growth of 5%, 10% in terms of whatever traffic or registered users or activities or whatever you want. And they monitor us on a weekly basis. So the emphasis has always been on that. That's slightly different. And we're lucky. Actually, before we got into Y Combinator, we were approached by local VCs. So to be honest with you, all this was a new experience for us because we've never gone through like investment before. It's the first time we dealt with investors, with local VCs. The first term sheet that we accepted was from 500 Global, which is a regional VC, came from Silicon Valley, and then YC and others as well. So now we are invested by quite a number of investors, local one like Arshel, even from abroad, like Europe, from Silicon Valley, from India and others as well. Even from one of the most prominent universities in the world, Harvard. So Harvard University approached us. We are not alumni of Harvard. They just emailed us saying they're interested in what we were doing and they wanted to invest. So it just shows that a local product developed by local founders, serving local customers, can actually attract investment from other continents as well. So it really shows that Malaysia boleh lah in a way.
Nadira?
All right, so Kiddocare's fundraising journey has been quite a colorful one. When we started our first fundraising activity was, I think, about 9 months into the business. And we were already growing, we could show the growth. There was already traction. We were making good revenues and whatnot. But it was very challenging for a few facts. Number one, we were in a space where, there isn't any benchmark within even the region for any investors to invest in such a business like us, a platform in care and things like that, especially childcare. Because everybody thinks childcare should be free, right? So then it was difficult because we have to convince people of that. Number two, because we were also women. So, mother, I had another co-founder who passed away last year. So the two of us went around, mothers trying to build a business, and whether you like it or not, there were also discrimination among, investors towards women founders. We had questions of how are you going to build your business if you are going to be busy with your families and your children? How are you going to manage your time, right? And we had to overcome that too. So our first couple of months, we were going to VCs and angel investors, and then after that we thought, this is not going to work. Let's go into crowdfunding, right? Because if we can't get investors who believe in the vision, who believe in the dream, who believe in the solution, we'll get customers. And that's what we did. So within 1 month, we were fully subscribed. In fact, we were oversubscribed, right? And we raised our first round. That was in 2019. And then came 2021, COVID lah, things like that. But we're still growing. So we went in for our first round of VC. At that time, right? Still growth, good revenue and things like that. Very new to the whole VC ecosystem, very new to fundraising. Became a bit stupid lah, wanted the money badly, right? So took the money, didn't care much about the term sheet until the recent fundraising round. And then I realized, alamak, I took the money, I didn't read properly, right? But this time around, I didn't really need the money. We didn't really need the money. Kiddocare was growing. We had investors coming to us, asking us to take them. But what's very important is for us to have, this is what I realized, right? have the kind of advisors who will be able to help you read through those lines, who will be able to help you to see who are the investors you should be having in your company. We talked to many of them, right? And then we decided to go with only a few, those who are very aligned with our vision. So we were part of the Scale Up. I think Doc Siva is my hero, he's here. Scale Up program, and I think they were very instrumental in terms of helping us identify who we need and what we needed, right? And helping this founder go through that whole term sheet and agreements and things like that, which was so crucial. And that's what we did. So, we're very lucky to now have, investors like Gorbidania Impact and Artem and Scale Up, of course, MSWB, a couple of other strong investors who back us up. So it has been fun. It has been very enlightening. It has been quite a journey for us. Thank you.
You can just share your journey so
Sure.
far?
Yeah, I have just closed my pre-seed last year, so I'm raising my second round now. I think to summarize what they have said is, number one, you don't raise to build a product just to test it, but you raise to actually build a product to scale it, right? So that's what Chris has mentioned. It's very important. You need to talk to your customer first, not the investor first, because you need to make sure there's product market fit, there's tractions, you know that your product is solving the right problems, eventually investor will come to you. And as well, when investor come to you, read the terms, and that's why you need to make sure that the investor that join your first round, they're very supportive, aligned with your vision and mission, take care of your company, just like a co-founders, but they have their full-time job as well. So very lucky as well, all my investors are actually here today, my advisors here today. So make sure that you select your investor, make sure they trust your visions, they share the same vision, mission, and conviction, so they'll support you along the way, and yeah.
Thank you. I think you have here many different experiences here, right? As founders, as entrepreneurs, I think it's not about just you trying to impress the investor, trying to fundraise from them, right? I think very often it helps for you to also do some work on the investors. What value add can they bring? Ask about the investors. Can you refer me to some of your existing portfolio founders? I would like to ask them on their experiences of working with you, right? What value add have you helped them with? What have you delivered what you promised, right, to deliver, right? It's not just about taking money. It's about actually a lot of other intangibles, right? How to grow your business, how to think about partnerships, how to expand to different markets, how to avoid landmines, and so forth, right? I think these are all very important questions for founders, for business builders, whatever field you are. I mean, today we have a panel here that comes from many different areas, right? From education all the way to care, healthcare related, right? Family services related, all the way to insurtech, fintech, and then all the way to retail AI related businesses here. So it shows that there is a lot of opportunity to build all these businesses in Malaysia, and the journey is not easy, right? I think I hear Chris mentioned cockroach a few times now, right? You need to have cockroach mentality, how to survive, in the toughest environment, right? I think Nadira, Khairul, I think, they all mentioned all these good experiences that they've shared so far. The next topic I think would be interesting to hear from you all is very often when you fundraise, especially from institutional investor, you will be adding board members to your company, right? I mean, your company is no longer just a private company. You now have an expanded board. You have, perhaps the very first time, new external people outside the founders or management team coming on. What do you think, or what do you look for in board, especially investor director joining your board? And what kind of dynamics, what kind of value add would you hope for in such a scenario? Chris?
I think we go through a very unique fundraising journey. So we start with strategic first, then only proper financial investor. So when we look into board members, at the point of time, we were it's good kind of transparency in the sense that when we have a board member, the Japanese will say, okay, look, I have many different Japanese conglomerate. So they don't even only ask for a board member. They say, okay, can I have a secondment inside the company? They will sit next to you and they try to make things work. So when we look into that investor relationship is becoming very crucial. So while we don't look into what we look for a board member, what they contribute, because their contribution is really at the working level. So what they contribute from that, and I equate the same thing, is that they contribute for us to actually understand the market in Japan. They contribute to us in terms of how we can actually navigate some of the relationship with stakeholders we don't understand. And hence why when we have that, we also manage to penetrate to the market in Japan, where we have quite a bit of traction there. And that comes from that relationship from the investor. So they don't even sit on the board, because board only like once a quarter or whatnot, depending on what's your term sheet. But it also comes back into how they go in from a working level. So from that, we actually grew. And of course, when we have more investor, then they come in to generate advice on terms like deal structuring and whatnot, and how do you get different, to be creative in terms of getting capital, right? So there's many instruments that you can use, and from a financial investor perspective, then they will be able to advise how do you handle that kind of instruments to have the best possible value creation. And those are the things that we obtain and we look for, whether they sit on a board or whether it's a constant meeting like the Japanese. They basically sit in my office. That is how we see, and the strategic value is where they provide from a board level. Yeah.
Maybe I'll just chime in then. I think for us, we've undergone various changes of the board composition to now a more corporate kind of structure, more structured. I think two things from my end. Number one is chemistry. You need to make sure that you have chemistry with your board members, because if there's no chemistry in your board members, then things will be very difficult. Second, I think it's about managing expectation. Especially when you are running the business and then you've got a board member who might not understand fully of your business. You need to make sure that you manage expectation to know what they are looking for, what you need to deliver, and what the expectation for them are, especially in terms of the kind of exits that they're looking for, or the kind of returns that they're looking for. So just two things: chemistry and expectations. Yep.
Just want to add, I think when you have a board member, various board member from a different investor, you find that managing your wife is much easier, because you have only one wife, but you have many different board members. So that chemistry is very important.
In the case of Pandai, like I said, we have investors from different parts of the world, and when we talk to them, for example, like the international investors from the US, from Europe, from Asia, for example, we get good market access, introductions to other players, especially in the EdTech world abroad. But if you want to talk about the local scene, for example, the school uniform, the school calendar system, or Van Milo, Hari Sukan at school, and all that, they cannot appreciate that. Only the local investors can. So in our case, at the moment, we have 3 directors in the company, and the 3 are all the founders of Pandai. We do not have external directors yet. They have requested in our previous rounds of investments, but we have been able to deny them so far. So no external directors yet. So our board consists just the 3 of us. But having said that, we have a list of candidates who we are looking at into completing our board. And they do not come from the typical investors and all. Yes, we need the governance, like they said, the strategy and all this. But in order to be successful, we need to listen more to our customers rather than investors and shareholders, right? So the board that we're more interested in are the groups of people who understand our customers. And these are typically educators, parents or teachers who are senior in their field, who understands the customers very, very well. So those are the types of people we're very much interested into our board, rather than on top of other investors, representative that can help with strategy and governance and other things as well.
In our case, I think we can't do much about investors wanting to be on our board, but we try to limit them. So most of the investors are board observers, except for one who actually becomes the lead investors. But very important for me, because right now I am a single founder. So my board is basically my sparring partner, right? And my board members, alhamdulillah, fortunately, all of them are working board members, right? So even the investors are very, invested of course, but do a lot more, right, for the company. I think very heavily hard into the business. But what I appreciate from another investor in our company is the fact that he is also an entrepreneur who comes from a very different background, right? Because I think it is very important for me, especially in the company, to look and to have somebody who comes from a very diverse experience, very different kind of perspective and outlook. I think network is something that we can build. The investors are there anyway, but I wanted somebody who can actually help me to build the business and look at things the way I cannot look at things, right? So an entrepreneur who comes in with his own wealth of experiences and different ways of thinking, that adds value into my company. And I think, moving forward, we're going to be dealing a lot more with investors. And I need somebody to be on my board who will help me to deal with these upcoming investors, to give that kind of outlook based on his own experience as well. So that would be a valuable board for me lah. If I can have somebody, although I cannot have already lah, I would want Sam Walton, but he's dead. So, but somebody like him, who was at his age, started very late, 44, right, at that time, and still be able to build and bring a company public in 7 years and change that whole retail, ecosystem and introducing technology and innovation. Everybody thought it was crazy, and still have that heart for leadership, right? And I think that's what I need in my board, somebody to inspire me as well.
I think for I is slightly different here because not as much different, but what they wish, or I wish as well. But at the same time, building an AI and blockchain, the deep tech company itself, what I wish for the board members, of course, someone that really believe in deep tech and all the process to go through and believe that this is the future itself. Someone who is very receptive to the tech, to the AI, and someone who is also having experience in the industry itself. So that is what we need, and to try and search for the deep tech talents as well.
Thank you. I think we are running up on the time. Maybe just one quick sentence, right? I'd like to ask everybody. 1 year from now, right? If the organizer put you on the stage again, right? What do you wish to tell the audience?
I can start first.
Go ahead.
This is what I'm going to tell the audience. Thank you, loyal customers and supporters.
Very good.
Any thoughts? Khairul, 1 year from now, where do you wish you guys will be?
I think in Malaysia, what we need is a lot more inspiration, right? Success stories and all. And I hope by next year, there'll be more successful startups. There'll be maybe, 100 of startup founders on stage, right? Maybe different rooms and all, sharing their success stories 1 year from now. And I hope we'll be learning from them as well.
Yemi?
I think 1 year from now, hopefully more people will know about PolicyStreet. So that's it.
For me, it's 1 year from now. I hope that we have proven sufficiently enough in the Japanese market and world market that Malaysian technology is reliable, is trustworthy, and is innovative. Then we can actually build that trust, at least from the Japan market first.
I think for I, it's very simple. 1 year from now, everyone sitting in the audience said they are all using iFace to pay, just like how from cash to e-wallet and the e-wallet to biometric next.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I think time is up. If you guys have any questions, the panelists are here. Feel free to reach out to them after the panel. Ask them any questions if you would like them to share anything else beyond this. Thank you very much.
Just All right, thank you very much, Dave, for moderating the session. And of course, to all of our panelists as well for sharing with us your insights. I believe some of them have their booth over there, so please do check them out. Well done. Inspiring stories from Pandai as well and from Kiddocare, especially being a mom of two. These are things that I listen into as well because I could very well use it for my very own children. Now, do stay on because coming up in about a minute from now, we're going to discuss further about the startup landscape and transformative initiatives that could really transform the ecosystem. We've got one of our resident experts over here. There we go, flying solo for today. All right, Console, can we please have that mic on?